Well, hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Feedback Friday. In today's episode, we are catching up with Matthew, who is, of course, a SwiftPoint Z2 user. He is also a full-time 3D designer. He uses the SwiftPoint Z2 paired with the Stream Deck XL and talks us through how he uses it to boost and level up his productivity. He has come from the Logitech MX Master 3 and talks us through how moving over to the SwiftPoint Z2 paired with the Stream Deck XL has helped to boost his productivity to another level. We're super excited about this conversation. We learned a lot from this conversation as well. We know that you will too. So let's jump into it.
I'm not a gamer. I tried it once. My kids were like, "Hey, do this, Dad," and yeah, it just didn't work out.
Cool.
But I tried all the gaming mice. I mean, we have a local shop here called Micro Center that has, 35 feet of aisle space dedicated to mice, and tried out probably a dozen mice and just couldn't find one. And I'd been using, this old dog. I grew up on the Apple mouse and the Magic Mouse, and it was, I've been a Mac guy forever, not out of choice, but just because it's what we use and it's what we use. Yeah. And my boss was a Mac fan. He's like, "Yeah, you're using this, you got to do this," and my hand grip just, the tendonitis, everything. It was so small. And just after,
it's a terrible mouse.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's a terrible mouse.
It was so bad. And so finally I went out and dropped $100 on one of the MX Master mouses, and like I'm never going back to that thing. So.
Did you guys see the video of I think you sent it to me, Sean, of Tim Cook being interviewed by Marques Brownlee, and he was like, "We're just so proud of how we've managed to make the Magic Mouse so ergonomic." And Marques just looks at him like, he's like, "Huh?
Are you kidding?"
Oh, it's just, man, it was like, are you listening to yourself right now? Like, did you actually mean to say that? I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Is it the MX Master that you've been using most recently prior to the Z?
Yep. Yeah, it's in fact, my work just got me one of the 3s, the latest version, the 3S or whatever it was. It was great. It worked. It worked fine. And it was a little tall for my hand, but like I said, I'm not a super precision. I don't have my DPI cranked all the way up, so that my hand's only moving a quarter inch. So I actually use a decent part of my desk space for my mouse. So.
Nice.
I know you've got lots of feedback on like the hardware and the software, and I'm super keen to get into that. But before that, maybe I'm keen to hear like how you're using the Z2, like what you're doing with it in your workflow, doing the 3D stuff, and like if you've got any short programmed or macros, or like give us a bit of an overview of what you're using.
Absolutely. So I use it in conjunction with a Stream Deck. My first little toy was a Stream Deck XL that I just went nuts over because I could, I hate digging for stuff in menus. I hate going up to menus and going down here and then down here and then down here, buried menus. It just bugs the crap out of me. And so I try and set up shortcut keys for everything I can. And anything my brain will allow me to remember is another thing, trying to remember those. I've got my monitors covered with sticky notes of, different stuff. So that's where the Stream Deck came in really handy because, it was super simple. So then I was like, well, I don't like moving my hands from here to here. So why don't I just try and get my mouse to do everything? So the majority of my time is in my 3D program, Keyshot. And I do everything I can off of the mouse. I do all my navigation. I do my camera resets because a lot of the times it's rotating a product around and then wanting to make a change and then jump back to the camera, locked off camera to see how it looked. So I've got the bottom one of the buttons set for reset camera. I've got another one set for targeting a specific object. So I'll just do the top button click on one of the objects, and then my pivot changes to that. Now I can rotate around that object.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've got just a ton of stuff mapped. The only thing I haven't really gotten into was the deep press, the pressure sensitive stuff. I haven't gotten into figuring out what I could use that for. The other stuff I use mainly for is, Chrome or Edge. The one thing that was really cool is that I mapped the finger buttons, up here
Yep.
to scroll back and forth through tabs.
Nice.
Because
That's cool.
in our digital asset management program, I'll just have thumbnails scattered all over my screen, and I need to look at them closer and closer. So I'll open up 30 tabs and try and compare all the all the images to make sure they're all consistent and stuff. And just doing that is just I can just go zing back and forth through tabs. It's just fantastic.
Nice.
So yeah, and open, close documents, save documents, is all on the mouse, either a pull or a push on the top lever, on the top lever ones is, and I try and keep the nice thing is that you can duplicate in the software, you can duplicate the profiles. So I can just go from Photoshop to Illustrator. Oh, I don't have one set up for Illustrator. I'll just duplicate that, change the app, and from there, the base settings are all still there. The open, the save, the scroll through, being able to click through different documents super quick, changing my layout, because sometimes I want to have them all tabbed. Sometimes I want to have them tiled so I can look at them all. So it just makes my work. If it doesn't make my work faster, it makes it a lot more enjoyable and easier. So and
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
that's
so
so good.
it's and that's part of enjoying your job is what you need to do. So
Totally.
yeah, so that's kind of and I'm always changing stuff. So if I do something more than 5 times, I'm like, man, I need a shortcut for this. So I'll either go to I have both I've got your app and then Elgato's app, on my dock, and I'll either program a button, a macro on my Stream Deck, or I'll just go to the mouse and set it up. So
nice. That's awesome. It's cool. It sounds like you're a proper power user and getting like the most out of it, which is great.
I'm trying. I mean,
yeah.
it's not cheap. It's an investment, and I want to get the most out of it that I can. And the more you use it, the more I remember, and I can, it just becomes muscle memory. So
yeah. How long did it take you from like when you first found it on Reddit to actually making the decision to buy it?
I'm a pretty deep researcher, so I would say it was probably a good 3 to 4 weeks of just randomly reading about it, searching up as much as I can. I think I looked at every single page on your webpage, read all the FAQs, dived into the forums, dived into the subreddit, read all the reviews and stuff, and nobody really had a whole lot of negative stuff to say as far as capabilities. The only negative things were, I think the biggest thing was the scroll wheel stopped working, or something broke on the scroll wheel, and they got a new one and it works. So I really like the fact that it's repairable to a certain extent. And you get from all the stuff that I read online, usually what you read online is all the negative stuff, right? People don't take the time out of the day to post a positive comment about stuff, but the stuff that I did see is like, hey, they sent me another thing, or they helped me fix this or fix that, was pretty cool to see. So because you're not going to get that from anywhere else. And the last mouse I had before this that I tried out was, I even forget what it's called. It's all mush in my head, but it was the Razer one with the replaceable side plate. It had the 14 dozen buttons on the left side. I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's what I want. And it was worthless. Because you can't remember what all those buttons do, So that was the problem. It's like, hey, you can have as many buttons as you want, but it doesn't do any good if you can't remember them. So
is it harder to remember them because of like the muscle memory is not as easy? Is that like
having I think it was 12 buttons on the side on the one? It was either 12, 6, or 2, and having 12 buttons on the side for one for just your thumb was impossible. I don't see
Mhm.
how much, unless, I can see like if you're gaming and they sold it as like only a specific gamer playing specific games would use this, because the top button on the back would be one shot, the next one down would be 3 shots, the next one down would be, so it's just variations
Mm.
of things. So it's not like, each button is going to be a completely different shortcut in Photoshop. It's just, that's at least for me, that's impossible to remember. So
Yeah.
having the buttons for different digits for different fingers on your hand, that's what makes it easier for me to figure this out, because my pointer finger only has a certain number of things that I have to remember, and then yeah, it just makes it easier to spread it out. You got 5 fingers on a hand, hopefully.
Mm.
Yeah.
You can use them.
Nice.
So
Cool. And then one more like markety question.
Mhm.
So it took you 4 weeks or so to decide. Overall, do you think it's worth the purchase?
yes, yeah. I was hesitant to drop that amount of cash on a mouse when right over in the drawer over there I got a $10 Dell corded mouse that does mostly the same basic thing, but the feel of it and just the ability to, like I was talking before, the ability to take things out of the menus and put them instantly at my fingertips is fantastic. That's probably the number one thing. And then the build quality just felt, once I got it out of the box and, felt it all snap together, and, how it was built was, I was like, yep, yeah, this is worth it. This is okay. And especially since, for people who are mousing, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, that's a big deal. And it felt, I don't have huge hands. I don't have tiny hands. They're pretty average. So it felt great as soon as I put my hand on it.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. So
Appreciate
good.
it. Hold I know you've got I really want to get pick your brains on this, because I know
Yeah.
you've done proper product testing, so I don't want this just to be a hype thing where we're just asking questions
Oh,
to
yeah,
make us
yeah.
sound good. But
Yeah.
I'm keen to dive in. I know you've sent me the hardware and software list, so
Mhm.
anything that you want to pick apart and discuss or give us direct feedback on, I'm super keen to hear.
Mm.
I probably could have gotten away with the next one down. What is it? The Creator mouse.
Yep.
But I think I just kind of went, well, I already spent $220 on this Razer mouse. This one's cheaper, right? So I'm saving money. So I went with that one. But there's a couple, the LCD display, haven't really found a use for it yet. Cool feature, eye candy. It's pretty damn cool. There aren't any other mice that I've seen that has it. So there might be something that I'm not thinking of. And then I haven't gotten into I got the tilt function to work in Excel, but it was pretty gnarly to get it at least for me. I couldn't figure out how to get it totally set up. And I think I don't know if it was just I didn't spend enough time at it, because a lot of my tweaks are, it's like, oh, I'm in the middle of a job, but I really want to make this thing easier to do, the one thing that I just did 10 times. So I'll try and, make it work real quick, and then I'll get distracted back and go, oh crap, I got to get back to work, and so that's a lot of how I set these things up. It's like I just start using it as a mouse, nothing pre-programmed, and then I'll start going, oh, I'll actually keep your guys' software open in the background, so I can just tab over to it real quick and go, where is that? Right there. Okay, click that, add that, keyboard shortcut, hey, it works, cool, moving on. So the ability to set up stuff really quick is important to me, at least.
Mhm.
And I couldn't get that with the tilt. That's one of the things that I was looking at your software. It's so capable.
Yeah.
And I love the ability to go back and forth between the expert mode and the simple mode.
Cool.
Because that's something almost every software should be able to do, and I remember when Apple came out with DVD Studio Pro, and they did their own version, and then they purchased a company that had a totally different setup, and they completely changed the interface, and everybody was all mad at them about it. And this was back in 2006, I think. But the one thing that the first time you open the software, there was a little menu that said, do you want easy, medium, or expert,
Yeah.
and it was just perfect. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
a brilliant idea. Like it can still do all the stuff. We're just hiding all the buttons that you don't need to worry about. The config mode confused me for a little bit. Where you tilt the thing. I think I programmed it so it doesn't do that anymore, because I get in the habit of lifting my mouse up and moving it all over the place, so it kind of starts to wig out a little bit. But I think at first its default is to, if you tilt it up and it goes config mode, and then you can use the scroll wheel to adjust your DPI settings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that took me a while to figure out what is config mode. I don't know what that actually does.
Yeah.
So is it a profile switcher? Is it a, it can do anything you want. Oh, okay. Type of thing. So, and then I just had a functional question. Actually, I think I just discovered this the other day. Does it have a gyro in it where it will actually like rotate around the center, not a tilt sensor, but you can actually rotate it and it'll measure the angle?
It essentially should be, because it is picking up the angles that you're moving it onto
Right.
on the Y, X, and Z axis as well.
Yeah.
So it is picking that up. But yeah, once again,
Then-
a little bit too technical for me.
Right. And I might play around with that, because in my 3D software,
Yeah.
you can go into first person mode and basically, have the camera pivot as you, and then if I
Okay.
turn my mouse left and right, if it's going to point my head, like
Yeah. Okay.
that could be kind of fun to play with.
That could be really fun to play with. That'd also be really cool for us to see. If you do figure it out, we would love to see that. If there's a chance of you doing a screen grab or like a video or something, that'd be absolutely awesome, because we'd love to see that.
That's it's super useful. It's I love jumping on these calls, like just hearing how you're using it. It's, it's awesome. And I'm glad that's helping with your workflow and
it
you're
is.
enjoying it. So it's
No, I have no problem with the idea that I spent $200 on this thing. So
Nice.
It's definitely been worth it, And I know that's not it. I mean, there's a bunch of features that I haven't played with yet and gotten dialed in, and